in a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the Drive, baby.
The Drive Guys, Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles. It's drive time with the Drive Guys.
The Kings are getting into some very deep water with this losing streak, which, as you know, has reached 16 games, and they'll try to bring an end to the streak tonight when they take on the Memphis Grizzlies. And different people are affected differently by this losing streak. For example, and I say this with total respect, Alan Stiles is a little delirious. He actually is excited. You can understand, as a Kings fan, you're sitting there and there's not a lot of things to get excited about. It can be a little discouraging. And then you get the news that they've signed 2 former first-round picks. Some people are, well, I guess it's not bad. But Alan is sky high over the news.
All you got to do is look it up on your phone, on your laptop, on your computer, on your tablet. All you got to do, you can go to my own Twitter page at @the_Styles Files, Styles with an I, of course, and you can get on the hype train with me. When you look at the wiggle.
A lot of room.
There's plenty of room. Train. Because, the everyone is just, it's like the Charlie Brown cloud. There's not a cloud in the sky, Whitey. I don't know why the Charlie Brown cloud is still out here in certain parts of the 916. We got 2 former first rounders
making our way. Be one of those people.
Making our way to the 916. It's not me. But I'm not the same person. Number one, we're sitting here battling back and forth with, can Devin Carter do this? Can Devin Carter do that? By the way, Killian Hayes is a couple months older than Devin Carter and the same age as everyone's favorite rookie, Neek Clifford. So it feels like he's been in the league forever because he was drafted at a normal first-round age. So all these people, Killian Hayes.
What happened to him?
Well, he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
Okay.
It's the same conversation with Devin Carter. I'll tell you that right now. The same question mark is, can he shoot? It's the same question mark. But number one, he's a lefty. So I got to give love to the lefties. And when you watch him, he more so resembles a point guard than Devin Carter. And it's not necessarily about him versus Devin, but the reality is, in a lost season, right? Treasures of the lost ark. Let's find treasures of the lost first round, okay? And that's what we're looking at with Killian Hayes and Patrick. Don't get me started on Patrick Baldwin.
We haven't even got there yet.
Don't get me started on him.
It's a miserable season, I know, and I understand why the Kings, with roster spots available, would go out and get guys that have played well in the G League. It's like, well, roll the dice. But I just don't want you to be one of those people that starts going, hey, and you've already said it. These are former first-round picks.
Are they not?
The implication being that they could still be the guys that were drafted in the first round, especially Killian Hayes, because PBJ was drafted, 28? In 2022?
Right.
But Killian Hayes was the 7th pick. So it reminds me of, I don't know if you remember this, Jay, years ago when the Kings were disassembling the whole thing, and they traded Mike Bibby, if I remember correctly, to Atlanta for Sheldon Williams. And when Sheldon Williams came over, it was like, hey, he was a lottery. He was the second player taken in the draft. Well, there was a reason why Atlanta was really ready to get rid of him.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I hear you.
Just keep that in mind.
I hear you. Look, I'll tell you this much right now. And we were in crosstalk, okay, and Matt was trying to get on. By the way, Patrick Baldwin Jr. is younger. Younger.
So what?
Than Nick Clifford. By the way, Matt was trying to get on Patrick Baldwin Jr., right? Shooting 32%. By the way, he's 7-footer. Shooting 32%. You know who else is shooting 32%? Nick Clifford.
Okay.
Nick Clifford is shooting 32%.
So he's as good as Nick Clifford?
Well, I'm just saying.
What are you saying?
I'm saying this is a 7-footer who's younger than Nick Clifford, who can be a stretch, whatever, wing, whatever you want to call him. I don't understand. Sometimes I don't understand what Kings fans want. And now I sound like my mentor, even though he doesn't respond to my phone calls. Now I sound like Kyle Draper. Because sometimes I don't know what Kings fans want.
Mentor.
You're
Okay.
mad. He's Yoda. He just doesn't respond to my calls, okay, or my texts. But you're mad when you play the old guys. Stop playing the old guys. You're mad when they don't play the young guys enough. You're mad when they don't make a change, right? Then they make a change. Oh, well, this is a nothing burger. But if they don't make a change, oh, well, they need to do something. Sometimes I don't know what y'all want.
Well, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'll tell you what I want. I just want you to look at this reasonably and not get carried away in this miserable season with a couple of signings of G Leaguers.
But what's the harm in that? Why can't I get carried away?
Well, because it implies things that aren't true to me.
We don't know. But no. I'm not
you're
sitting here
excited about
I'm not
Patrick
sitting
Baldwin
here
Jr.
saying that these guys are going to save
By the way,
the organization.
Really serious, 7 feet tall?
That's what it says. I don't know, Whitey. I don't know. That's just what it says on gleague.nba.com. I see a 7, a dash, and a 0.
Okay.
That's what it says
seen that
to
too.
me.
I see something here that says 6'9". I've seen 6'10".
I've seen it all. Right.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
same thing.
Mhm.
It's the same. All I know is he's not 6'2".
I'll give you this. I'm with you on this. It should, assuming they get to play, it's going to make the stretch run a little more interesting than it would have been.
This is great.
I'm just not ready to do backflips over.
No,
That's all.
I'm doing front
That's all.
handsprings, backflips, cartwheels. 916 says Allen, and it's Allen, not Alan. Come on now. Allen sounds like the guy that's excited for free Little Caesars pizza. Who's not excited for free pizza? And stop sleeping on Little Caesars. Everybody talks about the $5 hot and ready. If you go in and you order their pizza fresh, don't sleep on it. So if somebody said Allen here, I think that's a great example, 916. If they said, Allen, what do you like on your pizza? Me personally, I like garlic, I like bacon, I like
Didn't ask
pepperoni,
you.
and onion. If someone said, Allen, here, you're going to get this free pizza, okay? Now, it's Little Caesars. It's not from, what were they, just in Milan. It's not from Italy, right? It's not from Europe, but it's free pizza. You damn Skippy, I'm going to be happy.
What's the upside here? What I meant to ask is the potential. What are we hoping these guys, in your exuberance, what are you thinking these guys could become for the Kings?
Do you really want to know?
I do.
Patrick Baldwin Jr. to me.
Yeah.
The same way his draft buddy, who went after him, Ryan Rollins, has kind of turned things around. I think Patrick Baldwin Jr. could maybe do some things, right? Could be a rotation guy, and we'll see what happens.
That's what we're talking about, isn't it? If these two guys can become rotational guys on good teams.
I don't know about Killian Hayes because, to me, Killian Hayes has gotten more opportunities than Patrick Baldwin just based on where he was drafted. Patrick Baldwin might be a slower burn, and we've seen this before. When you have that type of size, there's always going to be opportunities. Baseball's going on right now. If you're a pitcher, you're always going to have an opportunity somewhere because everyone's always looking for pitching. Everyone's always looking for a 6'9" dude that can shoot, even if it's only 32%. You saw him in the Rising, what was it, the G League Showcase, whatever it was. He looked like a man amongst boys. Now, could they be, as people will joke about baseball, 4A players, like a lot of people will say with Luis Matos? Could they be 4A players, just too good for the G League, not good enough for the NBA? Maybe, but I am excited to find out.
Well, there was a really interesting, I know I sent it to you and I sent it to Jay, really interesting quote from his G League coach, from Killian Hayes' G League coach, whose name is, well, I'd have to double check it. Anyway, he told a story that before the holidays, Killian Hayes went off for 40 against somebody. And he said, the coach said, he was efficient. We lost the game, but he played really well. He scored 40. So the coaches and we got together with him and said, look, Kill. I kind of like that nickname. Hey, Kill, what's up?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Kill. At this level, you could do that anytime you want, but you don't want to be in the G League forever. That's not your ticket out. Your ticket out is you want to become, I believe the coach is like a second or third guard on a good team. The way you're going to do that is you're going to set up your teammates. Now, to Killian Hayes' credit, his coach said he embraced that. But it just really, for me, was like, okay, lifted the veil. What we're talking about with these guys is, can they become rotational pieces on a team?
Right.
The hopes of 7th pick, he's going to be a superstar.
No, no one's doing that.
Anything can always happen, but it's very unlikely.
Because we were just talking about this last season. This is in no way, shape, or form like the Markelle Fultz thing. Not to me. Markelle Fultz joined, and people did do the first overall thing. Again, that season was spiraling. So I understand why we got there, okay? So
I think there's a lot of similarities, actually. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know if it's as aggressive. I just think the thought process is a little bit different. But for me, with Killian Hayes, I don't necessarily know what to expect. But I'll tell you this much, and this is why I'm just keeping it so simple for everyone. If you are asking me, I don't know if Killian is Little Caesar's Pizza. I don't know what Russell Westbrook is. But if you're asking me, hey, Allen, would you rather those 20 minutes go to Russell Westbrook or Killian Hayes for the rest of the season? I don't even need to think about it. It's Killian Hayes. I'm excited that this could be a way out. This could be a way out to see some guys that are under. I want to see guys that are still on their parents' insurance. That's what I want to see. I want to see guys under the age of 25 for the rest of the season.
I just want to point out, I'm trying to counterbalance your exuberance. You
don't have to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably for everybody's benefit. If we try to do that a little bit, I will say this. I don't know how these guys are going to play. Obviously, nobody does. But bringing in young players who haven't been very good, it's a great way to tank.
See?
And that is a fact.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right on that. I'm not looking at it that way because, I am a winner and I'm going to win.
Obviously, the Kings would love for both these guys to come in and be, wow, these guys are two of the greatest players ever. Wow, that worked out.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'd love that. Just don't know how realistic that is.
But we don't need him to be that. We need PBJ to just turn into a rotation guy. Obviously, it from what I've heard and those that I've talked to within the league, the defense is another question mark. The lateral movement is a bit of a question mark because obviously he's got the size, but who can you guard? That's a big question in this league a lot. Killian Hayes, when I saw it, Whitey, I saw 6'5". That's what it said.
Yeah.
Maybe he's right under that, something like that.
Not very athletic.
Well, you know what? But that's why my comp was, and everybody started joking about this, you too, my comp was D'Angelo Russell. And a lot of people said, well, is that a compliment? For what's on the squad right now, yeah. If you're telling me that your comp is Brooklyn D'Angelo Russell, and D'Angelo Russell D'Angelo Russell and Dennis Schroeder are fairly similar. You can't have these guys running the show, but they can do some stuff for you for periods of time. That's what I see with him. He's a lefty as well.
Yes.
Kind of gets to his spots.
Very lefty dominant.
Yes. Plays.
Maybe too much.
Well, that was me as well. So this is my guy. Plays at his own pace. So I'm not saying he's going to be some superstar all-star, but if you could get a couple, good notes from him, we don't know who's going to be on the team next season. We don't know how they're going to acquire a point guard. That's part of the conversation too. They're two positions, right? They're not even going to get PBJ if DeAndre Hunter doesn't get poked in the eye, I don't think. Right. So that's why that happened. But as far as Killian Hayes, they're probably looking at this thinking, okay, well, we've seen Devin a little bit. Feels like we've seen enough of Devin. And the other option is to just keep running Russ out there for funsies. So I don't think, I'm having a lot of fun with this. Obviously, I don't think these guys are going to be on the Kings for the next 5-10 years. But I'm also in the mindset of, well, why not? And they have played well.
Something to watch.
But I'll always keep in mind, a lot of the guys, the Mason Jones and the Joneses of the world, those dudes were dropping 30 and 40. I remember Moses Moody, that brother was killing it in the G League.
Mason Jones averaged just under 24 a game last year.
They were killing it in the G League, and then they get to the big show.
McClung's like 25 a game in the G League.
Exactly. So we're keeping all that in mind. And even Devin Carter, but it depends on how it looks. Devin is a strong guard, but then you look at how he's shooting and you're thinking, all right, well, you're just kind of bogarting your way to the hoop. That's cool, but you're not really going to do that in the NBA.
As you pointed out to me when we were exchanging texts today or yesterday, whenever it was, only 5 minutes for Devin Carter. So what does this acquisition of Killian Hayes, what does it mean for Devin Carter? Is it bad news? It looks like it.
It does look like it. And from what I understand,
we all connections.
We all have eyes here, right? There's just some fairly basic guard-centric things that that not only the Kings, but that the league just needs to see from Devin Carter. It doesn't matter how big or how wide his wingspan is. If you are 6'2", there are certain things you're just going to have to do in this league that he cannot do right now.
You got to shoot.
You have to.
And make it. It's what you can't just
well,
shoot.
You can put it up.
Yeah, right.
Hey, he's not afraid to put him up.
No.
But, and I don't know. You know how it is, Whitey. Once everyone has an idea about you, it kind of just makes you rack your brain about it when it comes to, all right, can I shoot, right? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of similar. I think Devin, it's just different. And you do start to think about, the conference and, being at Providence. It's just a different world when you're that much stronger as a guard and you do have a bit more confidence shooting the basketball. I'm not saying it's all in his head because I do think that his form is hard to repeat, but I think that some of it is in his head. And very similar to Killian Hayes, another guy who'd struggled to shoot the basketball, it's real hard to refresh all this. And I don't know if you can do it while playing.
I just know, Alan, when I was with your mentor, Kyle Draper, on Media Day, we talked to Devin Carter about playing point, and he was very forthcoming. He's like, I've never played point. So it seems to me like that was the mandate. I don't think that's too strong a word. I don't know exactly how it was put to him. It's like, you're going to have to play point.
Yeah.
And so they play him a point, and it's not there. And you said that way back when, last season. I said, well, let's wait and see. But we haven't seen it. So at least Killian Hayes is – one thing he is a point guard. Supposedly he has really good court vision.
Yeah.
So the tricky part here for the Kings, and I guess this year you can't, get too far ahead of things. Patrick Baldwin Jr.'s on a two-way, which expires, so he'd be a free agent. So there's no guarantee you could keep him even if you wanted. Presumably, if he's a good fit here and he plays well, yeah, you could work some out. That applies to Killian Hayes as well.
Yeah.
On a 10-day. If he plays well, is he going to want to stay here? Well, we're not there yet, but it is a fair question.
Yeah, I mean, somehow the Kings have found their way back, and I know there's a Malik Monk conversation to be had, but either way, his minutes have been a little bit funny because he's not necessarily a young guy, but they are paying him. So he's stuck between, he's not a vet like DeMar or Westbrook, but he's also not a young guy as far as the future is concerned. So if they're looking at, well, do we want to give Malik random point guard minutes when it's not Russ or Devin Carter? We don't really see him like that, so no. So they really just didn't have another point guard on this roster outside of Russell Westbrook that they have any type of not commitment, but want to see or interest in, to be honest with you.
Here was just a few months ago, they had too many guards.
Exactly. And they but then they got rid of 2 and 1, and, then DeAndre Hunter goes down. So I'm excited to see what Killian Hayes can do. We can look it up, Whitey. I know everything is kind of flown by here the last couple of days, but I think later in the week we'll get into some similar, just good stories like that and what is realistic. I don't think anybody's thinking he's going to be.
You and your stories.
Well, no, these are stories that I like. Okay, these are unique stories. I like that. And, as Keon Ellis makes his way out, and he still looks great, by the way, maybe there's some room for some new good stories. And we already have one. We're kind of playing with house money in that regard with Dylan Carter, or Dylan Caldwell.
Yeah. What's the story there between Russell Westbrook and De'Aaron Fox in Austin?
Two competitors getting after it.
I thought Russ lost his cool a little bit.
I did too.
And he was banging on Fox, and they were letting it go. He was banging on him. Then when Fox said, "Hey," Russ lost his cool a little bit. That surprised me.
Is there anything worse? I texted Digital Boys. They didn't respond, but they're so busy, doing things. But is there anything worse than when you are upset and the person that you're upset with is laughing? Is there anything worse than that?
That's like
seriously though.
Checkmate right there. Yeah.
I mean, that is I don't want to say degrading, but you're ticked off and someone is laughing.
Not even taking you seriously.
Oh my goodness. There's nothing worse than that. And that's what I saw. And I'm not, if Russ wants to get after it. But De'Aaron's reaction, which was a classic De'Aaron Fox reaction, just let me know he is in such a flow state out there. He's scoring 12 points a game when he feels like it. If you need me to do more, Dylan Harper
humming.
They wouldn't even play Dylan Harper at the end of the game. They said, we can put Carter Bryant. They got so much talent, much young talent. They said, we can't even do Dylan Harper. You sit down. Carter, you can cook, But Dylan Harper, we have too much talent. You can't even play with these dudes.
Yeah,
that was crazy to me.
I know the Kings put up 122, which is just on the surface like, wow, that's a good offensive number. But just the ball has so much energy in the half court for the Spurs and for the Kings. Same old story. It's a close game, and then you get to, as Magic used to call it, winning time, and that's when it all unravels for them. Yeah. Because teams are like focused on what they're doing, and the Kings are still basically, we don't really know what we're doing as a team.
No. And,
down the stretch.
I wanted to say this. Somebody else, when I reached out to the Digital Boys, I said, hey, at the end of the game,
Digital Boys, by the way, are Frankie and Chris.
Yes, Frankie, Chris, and Brendan Nunez, the rising stars in our digital editor world. Okay, and I hit them up because Whitey, I don't know if you caught I'm not going to put them on blast, but it seemed like I was paying the most attention during garbage time. And when I was watching garbage time, I don't know about you, but I saw the Spurs. They were running a lot. They were doing a lot of handoffs, a lot of stuff. And we've talked about this before. When Doug is just running the young dudes out there, instead of it being, no disrespect, but more YMCA ball when it's not going through Maxime Reynaud, they need to be. We joked about Princeton and when I was running at De La Salle, I don't know. It just seemed like the Spurs, once they got to the young guys that, it's kind of haphazard, they said, hey, let's go to our sets. And the Kings don't really have that.
No, they don't. And some of that is personnel. There's a lot of factors. By the way, Scott Perry has done this before. When he was with the Knicks, his second year with the Knicks, they won 17 games or something. They lost 18 in a row. So a lot of this is by design, for better or worse. I will tell you this, though. I had my faith, to a small degree, restored in the NBA last night. I don't know what you watched yesterday. You probably watched hockey. But last night.
Beautiful. USA.
Was it?
It was great.
Okay. I know the guy lost. It's one thing if you lose your teeth. To lose parts of your teeth, to me, that's hard. It's like, no.
Well,
you knocked my tooth out, okay. You knocked part of my tooth out?
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, and then he's getting interviewed, and I feel the reporter, I'm just like, dodge and weave, bob and weave,
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
But USA, let's go.
Yeah. So I was watching last night after the Celtics beat the Lakers, the Clippers and the Magic were on NBA TV. Mm-hmm. And it was a really good game. Orlando prevailed. Your boy Mathurin missed a potential game winner at the buzzer. Just a really tight game. And it was just refreshing again to watch an NBA game where it was close. Like, ooh, both teams are trying to win.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah. I caught the middle of that game. Then I had to take up number 2 for her to take her to bed. But there are 2 levels to this. There's the level of, in general, you're right, it feels few and far between where you have 2 teams that aren't tanking playing each other and 2 teams that aren't tanking that are 80% healthy.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't happen a lot. So you have that going on in general. Then on top of that, we're in Sacramento, so we're watching the Kings every single night. So it's just refreshing to watch high-level NBA basketball where everyone is competing for something, and you don't see, Whitey, and the Warriors actually won this game, but I'm looking at the bottom when they're promoting Nuggets Warriors, it's a picture of Jokic and Draymond Green. Like that means it's pretty dry out there in the Bay, but they did win that game.
So thanks to your boy Pajemski.
Exactly. Every 4 games he shows up. But it was like you said, it's just nice to see 2 teams not only both trying to win, but also Paolo Banchero's. I know he hasn't been great, but he's playing.
Oh, and Kawhi Leonard is like
playing. He's on fire right now.
Yeah. It was just nice to be watching this game down the stretch and realize I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
I want to watch. I'm a volunteer, not a hostage watching this game.
Right.
So that was good. That was nice. Yeah.
It's almost as if, which feels crazy to say because it's only been, about a year since everything went down. It almost feels nostalgic to watch a game like that.
Yeah.
Right? Wow, everyone's healthy and trying.
Yeah.
This is refreshing. Mm-hmm. And that's, when it comes to the NBA, that's a problem.
How much are you going to watch Houston against Kansas tonight?
I'm going to watch as much as I can. They might get on the big screen.
Yeah.
Because I got to, your boy Kingston, he needs to pick it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Or we might get him on the back end. We might get him at the bottom of the first.
I'll be very interested to see how Darren Peterson responds to all the criticism and the back and forth. And Jay Billis saying, I'm very upset with all the criticism of him. It's unfair at some point, even though he played 32 minutes in the last game, just didn't play well. So he's still got a chance to turn this narrative around, I think.
Yeah.
A, if he can, if he's healthy enough, and B, if he wants to. So I'll be interested to see how he responds starting tonight in a big game against Houston.
Well, and I sent it to you and Jay. He finally spoke out. He spoke with ESPN, and the whole idea was, him essentially coming out and saying that I would have never thought about sitting games like this is not something that I would ever try to do. And he's admitting that there have been injuries and sicknesses. So you can look at that and feel better about it because he's saying that he is a team guy and these are real illnesses and injuries. Or you can look at that and say, well, is this just a very unlucky year of injuries and things like that? I mean, it reminds me, Whitey, of when a guy is a much different level, but when a guy is trying to make their way out of JUCO, right? You get 2 years. Sometimes you only get one. And you better hope that everything goes right in that 1 year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or things can go left. You know, you pull a hammy, whatever it is.
They don't have a JUCO combine, do they?
They do. Well, if they do, I didn't get to go, so so much goes into one season, and you would think, well, that seems like a lot of bad luck, but it does happen. It does happen. Sure. We all know a friend or we all know a former athlete that just got unlucky that 1 year. There's somebody at the Y right now who just bust somebody's said, if I didn't blow my knee out senior year, I'd be so-and-so. So there are situations where a player does get really unlucky. It's not on us. It's on the scouts. It's on the organizations to decide how much that matters and how much of a risk they want to take.
Roger Massey here in the YouTube chat. I'm not looking for wins with the new players, just to see how they played during the game. We need a top 3 draft choice real quick, and we'll probably address this again, if not later today, then tomorrow. This is from Nathan Grubel, No Ceilings, and this is from a couple years ago. He put together a quick list of things you should look at when you're trying to determine whether a G League player can play in the NBA. He said average to above average positional size and length. And this is no be-all, end-all, but these are things that tend to translate. So both players are check in that department, especially your 7'6" PBJ. Efficiency from each area on the floor. Positive decision-making indicators. Rebounding efforts. This was interesting. Nathan Grubel pointed out on really good teams, like everybody rebounds. Defensive playmaking indicators. Does the player's G League role scale well to that of an NBA role player, or are they best suited to play a style that they're unlikely to play if given an NBA opportunity? That's what's impressive about the way apparently Killian Hayes has started to embrace the fact that, all right, if I get back to the next level, which he has now, I'm going to be more of a backup. So for me to be like 30 a game, it just that doesn't really apply. It doesn't help me that much.
And another piece of this, just from a league-wide perspective, is that there are so many teams tanking right now, and because of that, you have guys sitting out, guys having surgeries. So we're seeing, Whitey, it feels like an unprecedented amount of G Leaguers and two-way guys come up. So I'll put it to you like this. When it comes to the second and third draft and opportunities, we're going to look back in 5 years, and there's going to be at least a handful of guys that turn their careers around because of the opportunity they got this season, because of so many teams just kind of giving them out because they're trying to lose. The hope is that maybe Killian Hayes and PBJ are two of those names. Might not be on the Kings, but could be two of those names.
It's funny. I could go back to any of the recent drafts and find somebody, if they were available, that was picked late first round, second round, that's now in the G Leaguers available, and you would get almost literally stars in your eyes.
Yeah.
You just love that stuff.
Oh, I do.
Especially if it's a guy with any size.
Oh, my goodness.
6'7" guy who was drafted 18th in 2023, 18th pick of the second round. Yes! I don't even need to know his name. Get him!
Johnny Juzang. We know his name. Go get him.
When we come back, a peek at how the projected top picks played over the weekend with the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Jackson Hewitt knows taxes are complicated, and with multiple jobs and tax forms, they're like Sonata complicated. Our no-surprise pricing keeps things simple. Jackson Hewitt does your taxes for only $149 or less. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back. So what are you waiting for? Hurry. File with Jackson Hewitt today for only $149 or less, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Join Sactown Sports Downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In Shape Fitness Kings Rally towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
It's Carmichael Dave wanting you to join Capital Casino every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. in a safe, friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
A's fans, the 2026 season is coming fast, and single game tickets are on sale now. Be there for an exciting season packed with theme days, giveaways, and firework nights, including bobbleheads, jerseys, hats, and much more. And getting in is easier than ever. Tickets start at just $8 for select April and May games. From opening day to unforgettable summer nights, there's something for everyone at the ballpark. Get your tickets today at athletics.com/tickets and be part of the excitement this 2026 season.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Couple questions for us, Alan, here on the text line, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Will the ESPN ticker actually say Sacramento A's this year? I don't think so.
That's not their name.
Yeah, I don't think anything's changed on that front.
No, that's not their name.
They officially are not the Sacramento A's.
Yeah, they just added the jersey, that new jersey, and some more swag in there at Sutter Health. I was just...
And the 916 days?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Saturdays?
Okay.
Saturday home games, I
They're
think.
just going to celebrate all things 916.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have the Midtown Market. Have the Midtown Market drive as a whole to Sutter Health.
Sure. So I don't think that's in the works. I mean, ESPN can call them whatever they want, but I know officially they're not going to be the Sacramento A's. From the 916, how is Max on defense?
Max who?
Maxime Reyno.
Are they asking?
Yeah. How is Max on defense?
I think he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine. I mean, I feel like he hasn't been in terrible foul trouble, which isn't necessarily a direct correlation to good or bad defense, but he was messing with 5 fouls a couple times early on there. He was in foul trouble a lot early on, and he doesn't seem to be. And I'll tell you this much. I'll be honest. Not me. This Schmal and Miles. But early on, the opponent center was pretty easy cash there for prop talk, and it's not as easy anymore.
Yeah, I think the answer is he's about as good as you could expect, which is right now not that good.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's understandable.
He's better than in October.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my, Alan, you're working your magic here. Alan convinced me Little Caesars for dinner.
There you go.
There's your next endorsement right there.
Bacon, pepperoni, onion, and garlic.
Uh-huh. Kimberly says, maybe I'm a jaded Kings fan, but maybe all the bad press is coming out about Peterson, so the Kings won't pick him.
No, that'll just that's driving him to the Kings.
Kings won't get a shot at Peterson. They won't get a shot at DeBonsa.
Why not?
Because they're probably going to end up picking down the list a little bit. They certainly, well, I can't say certainly, but it's very unlikely they get the first pick, just mathematically.
But it's very unlikely
anyone.
Anyone gets the first pick.
Right, but it's definitely unlikely the Kings get the first pick. They could, but they're probably not going to.
They have a better chance than any other team.
Is it a very good chance?
It's better than the other teams.
Yeah, but it's not a good chance. It's an 86% chance you don't get the first pick. So they're probably not going to. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, if they do, you're gonna say, "See, I told you." No, I'm just saying when we get bogged down in who will they take first, and I know we're gonna have almost endless conversations about who should the Kings pick if they take first, if they get the first pick. I don't think they're probably not gonna get it, and that's the sheer math of it.
So you're just protecting yourself.
No,
You're protecting yourself because you don't want to be let down.
No, it's very unlikely they get the first pick. Very unlikely. And I think Peterson's going 1. So
okay, so if it's so unlikely,
I still think Peterson is going first.
So if it's so unlikely, get DeMar back to 40 minutes. Get West, not as if they were winning when that was happening, but then play the guys Then stop the tank. Shut down the tank.
Well, that's a whole different thing. Depending on what the commissioner does next year, and I know we don't want to go on and on about stopping tanking, but we'll get to it here in probably the next segment. There's reason to think the Kings may actually be forced to go to your hybrid rebuild next year.
It's pretty crazy.
It could be on the board here.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of bark. We'll see how much bite there actually is next season. I don't know. If they have a meeting, right, and how transparent owners and organizations are going to be, but when they have these meetings, if they go to Adam and they say, look, man, the bottom line is every couple of years or every so odd years, it's going to be bad. This was a really bad year. But everybody in this room, all 30 teams, we all know that it's not going to be this bad next season because the draft isn't as bad. So you don't need to overcorrect and put everybody in a situation where it doesn't need to go. Now, I don't know if they're able to have those type of open forum conversations with Adam Silver, but I do think this thing could cool off a bit once everybody realizes that this season in particular is a bad one.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. It turns out, we found out, I think Saturday, the commissioner did say something a little scary at the meeting they had Thursday. We just found out about it over the weekend, and we'll look at that and how it could affect the Kings, but that's coming up here in 10 minutes or so. Also in the text line, I'm getting Little Caesars now too. Woo! If the Kings get the first pick, who would you guys like to choose?
It's the Bansa. It's the Bansa.
I think they will, if they get the first pick, take him.
Yeah.
I think I still would probably take Peterson, but let's see how this all plays out. But I think DeBansa is going to be their guy.
Did you see what was going around? It was about how the way DeBansa weaponizes his steps when he is, either doing a Euro step or whatever.
I'm trying to be careful here because I saw somebody say, I've never seen a player weaponize his steps. Like,
that's what it was.
Have you ever seen Giannis?
But that's what they said. They said it's Giannis-like.
Yeah.
That's what they said. That's what they were getting at.
Uh-huh.
Now, why they said, I haven't seen anyone looks like Giannis. Now, that's you kind of contradicted yourself.
Exactly.
But either way, they're comparing him and what he's able to do with Giannis, and he's obviously not as big as Giannis, but clearly a better shooter than Giannis.
Yeah. He had a great game. So just looking, again, over the weekend, looking at how the top players played over the weekend, tell me if you agree, Alan. Peterson played 32 minutes in a loss. He was underwhelming, frankly. 7 for 17. Boozer was, as he always is, rock solid and a huge win for them.
Yeah, that was a great
They're
game.
number one now.
Yeah.
Duke is back to the number one spot. DeBansa was Saturday night, wasn't it? He was just spectacular. Yeah. And Kingston Flemings was so-so. Mikael Brown was pretty good. But, again, it's just one game, one little snapshot. But this weekend, DeBansa was great, and Boozer was really good.
Yeah. And Boozer, what he does, I get it. I saw somebody, you're going to love this one, Whitey. You're going to think I came up with it, but I didn't. Somebody said.
That tells me you did.
No, I didn't. Somebody said Boozer is the Tim Duncan of Draymond Greens.
Yeah, sure. It kind of doesn't even need to be said, does it? It's so obvious. What?
I guess the best version of a Draymond, I guess.
Can I share with you what I thought's a really good comp for Boozer?
Please.
Jerry Reynolds he's told this to me a couple times. He says, he reminds me a lot, Boozer, of Kevin Love.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, and Kevin Love is a really good player.
Yes. How does that make you feel, though, about what we've been saying in this draft? trying to get the guy.
If they end up with Boozer, like they get the third pick and they get Boozer, I'm going to feel really good about that.
Right.
Now, if they have the first pick and they take Boozer, time to, march on the Kings' offices.
Yeah.
But he's a really, really good player, and he may end up being better than all the people that say, oh, he has a low ceiling, than all those people think. He's a really good passer.
Right.
And I love that.
I think the bottom line now is with how well he's playing, people can argue the top three, but it's hard to see Caleb Wilson, because he's not playing right now, getting taken number 3. It just is really hard to see that. Which, to your point, if Boozer was gone at 3 and the Kings had picked number 4 and got Caleb Wilson, I'd be really happy too. But I don't see a world where Caleb Wilson, or we'd be talking about a different player that's actually playing, leapfrogging Cam Boozer. I don't see Caleb Wilson doing it while on the shelf.
Well, here's the latest from Tankathon. They updated their rankings. However, they take into account team need. Well, we don't know who's going to be picking where, so it gets a little goofy. But they have Peterson, now Boozer's second, which surprises me after the game that DeBonsa just had, because DeBonsa, Saturday night, he had 29 on 10 of 17. He was 2 of 4 from 3 with 10 rebounds and 9 assists, but he has slipped in the Tankathon rankings to third. Kingston Fleming's fourth. Caleb Wilson holding steady at fifth. And it goes Brown, Acuff, Nate Ament, Keaton Wagler, and LeBaron Philon are the top 10 right now.
Well, you brought up fit. Maybe they're just looking at it, seeing is AJ going to work on the Pacers? We know that Cam Boozer would be great on the Pacers.
Yeah.
With, I don't know, Siakam and DeBansa, maybe they think there's some redundancy there.
Boozer against Michigan, 18 points, which that's not overwhelming, but he was 6 of 10 from the floor, 1 of 2 beyond the arc, he had 10 rebounds and 7 assists. That's what he does. And a lot of that definitely translates the way he plays.
I'm not comparing him to LeBron, but there's one thing that
I hope not.
There's one thing that great players do, and they seem to treat games like boxing matches, and they just are assessing the situation. They read what it is. LeBron does this a lot in games, but he also does it in series as well. And what I saw from Cam Boozer against Michigan, he was Rajon Rondo in the first half. Hey, if you want to make me pass, then I'll just keep passing. That second half, that's where he found his spots, head body to keep it boxing, where, all right, I'm going to take a 3 here. I can get to the rack when there's a smaller player on me, things like that. And we're seeing the word now that we've seen before, and you got mad at me when I brought up Brock Purdy, because what's the word that we're seeing? And I know you've seen it too. I know you've seen it,
I don't
Whitey.
follow it that closely.
Yes, you do. He processes things so quickly.
Okay.
He processes things. So it all comes back. Even though you tried to get mad at me, he processes things so quickly. And I believe he does. And I like Boozer.
You on Saturday, this was a text, you and me and Jay. Big game for Cam Boozer right now. That's what you said. And then Jay said, very true, could help a few people playing. So how much do you think he helped himself?
I think he helped himself a lot. I still think if you are in need of a true home run and you're willing to take that chance, you're probably not looking at him.
How much did Boozer help himself, Jay, on Saturday, in your estimation?
I think he put himself firmly in the top 3 for me.
Yeah.
I think Caleb Wilson was kind of, barking up the tree on the backside. I think AJ has kind of closed the gap on Peterson, and Peterson's kind of outside looking in some people's eye. And I think Boozer now has elevated himself to say, okay, I'm top 3 for the most part.
The next Kevin Love.
Take it. What did he do in Minnesota?
That's right. Leading rebounder. The Kings rebuild. Kings rebuild. It's already in trouble before getting off the ground, or could be, and we'll look at how and why next on Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sactown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Many driving ranges have turned to hitting mats, with many of them using mats year-round. But according to golf top 100 teacher Martin Chuck, hitting off mats can give you a false sense of security, giving you the impression that you're a decent ball striker. There are a couple of ways to make sure you get the most out of your practice, and he shares them in Golf Magazine. First, approach the ball with purpose. Treat every shot like you would on the course. Stand behind the ball and visualize what you want the ball to do. Then walk in and go through the same routine you use during a round on the golf course. Second, try the towel drill. To make certain you aren't skipping the club head into the ball, place the towel a few inches behind the ball and try not to hit the towel on the downswing. This will help promote ball first contact. If you disturb the towel, then you know you're hitting the ground too early. Ball first contact is imperative. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda. Yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
You remember me from a show called And Joe? I'm back on the radio, Sacramento. It's Joe Mommy, and when you need your new country fix, join me weekdays from 6A to 10 for the Pat and Cody with Joe show on New Country 105.1 KNCI or on the free KNCI app.
Paramount Pictures and Spyglass Media Group present Scream 7. When a new ghost-faced killer emerges in the quiet town where Sidney Prescott has built a new life, her darkest fears are realized as her daughter becomes the next target. Determined to protect her family, Sidney must face the horrors of her past to put an end to the bloodshed once and for all. Starring Nev Campbell, Isabel May, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, with Matthew Lillard, Joel McHale, and Courtney Cox. In theaters February 27th.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Chad, what's happening for Ram Truck Month?
If you've been looking for the right hard-to-find Ram heavy duty, Hoblet has it, and at the price that works for you. Right now, save up to $12,500 off MSRP on new 2026 Ram 2500s and 3500s. Plus, with over 400 new Rams available, you're going to find what you need at Hoblet.
Heavy duty seemed to be a strong point for Hoblet.
Absolutely. We are the only dealer in the area full of truck people. One of the many reasons we are consistently one of the top Ram truck dealers in the nation, and one of the only certified Ram truck centers in the entire country. You won't find a better combination of service and affordability in California.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$12,500 total net savings on select new 2026 Ram 2500 Laramie after $3,500 factory rebates and $9,000 dealer discounts. Rebates may include $2,000 select inventory bonus cash on select inventory, $500 on the job upfit. Must show eligible upfit. 5 of this net savings. See dealer for details.
Chick-fil-A's new frosted sodas and floats. It's a 10 out of 10. Hey, this is Lizzie, a team member at my local Chick-fil-A, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and new frosted sodas and floats is how well they go together. You will love having your favorite soda blended with our creamy ice stream to make a new frosted soda or float. With the mix of the ice stream and soda fizz, it's so delicious, I call it Fizzalicious.
Order a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and a new frosted soda and float at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Real team member paid for their testimonial.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Plus, free home delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles on Sactown Sports 1140.
You know, Scott Perry has been through this before. He took over the Knicks in 2017, 2018. Took over for Phil Jackson. They won 25 games, something like that. Next year, 2018, 2019, and they ended up, Alan, 17-65. So then Scott Perry was singing. This was, I believe, the first year that they changed the lottery odds. Mm-hmm. So they had the worst record in the league. The lottery ended up slotting them with the third pick. So it went Zion 1, Ja Morant 2nd, and then R.J. Barrett. So my point is that Scott Perry has been through this. That Knicks team, I believe, lost 18 in a row. So it's clear a lot of this is by design. Yeah. This is how you do it when you're trying to put a team back together through the draft.
Yeah. And I understand that you can't be in the tank forever, but I mean, what else do you want small markets to do? You know, this is just, it is what it is. It's been a process where, you know, you get out. Once you have decided that your current crop of players are not good enough, what else are you supposed to do, right? If you were to ask Adam Silver, hey, what should Scott Perry do? You don't want him to tank, or at least that's what you're saying.
Right.
What do you want Scott Perry to do? Nobody wants the contracts, right, that the league allowed to be signed because, you know, it's all fine with the CBA. So he's taken on these bad contracts. They're one of the oldest teams, I think the fourth oldest team in the league. And, you know, they're already way too expensive. If you don't want any more tanking, being in Sacramento as well, so you're not going to go out and get some big free agent. Tell me right now, Adam, in good faith, what would you like the Kings to do? What is their path moving forward?
Well, they may have to figure out a new path based on whatever the NBA is going to do to curb tanking. We found this out Saturday. I think it was Joe Varden and Sam Amick wrote this. A little peek inside the meeting that we know took place Thursday, in which Adam Silver and NBA officials informed general managers we're going to try to curb tanking. So what happened Thursday, the executive VP with the NBA named Evan Wash, he's laying out some of the ideas that we heard about for anti-tanking measures. Sean Marks is a GM of the Nets, and he has been for 10 years, and they're in year 2 of this, rebuild through tanking. And he thought, as this meeting's going on, he thought the changes could be made before this June's draft. So he was not happy about that. So in the meeting, he says, have you guys given any thought to that? And so the VP reminded Marks that, no, we're talking about the year after. And then he asked Adam Silver, Mr. Commissioner, do you want to say something? And he said, I would say, Sean, you should assume for next season your only incentive will be to win games, end quote. Now, if that's true, the Kings rebuild is in trouble. Now, he could have meant a lot of things by that. He could have meant we're going to flatten the odds here, we're going to do this. But if he truly meant there will be no incentive to losing games next year, we'll just have to wait and see. The Kings may have to change their plan going forward. And I know that we don't know that, and I'm not trying to get ahead of us, but that's a very cryptic comment. You should assume for next season your only incentive will be to win games.
It's funny because the way you led things off was the conversation about the hybrid rebuild, right? Mm-hmm. And hey, if this is true and they're doing your wheel idea, or
it's not my idea, but I love it.
Yes, or free agents are going to just be able to sign, rookies are going to be able to sign as free agents. If that's the case, then it's not a hybrid rebuild. It's just survival, because the rebuild, as we know it, would be dead.
Yes.
There would be no new way or no current way to rebuild the traditional way there was to rebuild. So it wouldn't be a hybrid rebuild. It would be a whole new world. It would be a whole new
term. It would be, you better get everything done this year you can in the draft, because then, who knows? You might not be back in the first spot to draft for, if they go to the wheel, 6 years from now or something like that.
I wonder when they'll find out what is happening, because think about it like this. If you find out what's happening,
that's a great
it could
point.
be a great exodus to find a way in this draft, even more so because, well, I'm going to trade my 2028 and 2029 because it's a wheel.
Yeah.
And I know we're not, wherever we're going to be is not going to change. So I do wonder when that timing is going to come out.
That's a great point, because teams need to know, need the info, Scott. Yeah. If they end up we're going to further flatten the odds, it'll probably be teams that go, well, okay, our odds of getting the first pick go down further. But, we were kidding just a few moments ago. If you still have the best pick by having the worst record, we're going to do that. But if the league looks at that and then says, no, we're taking all of that away, it changes everything, changes the complexion of the rebuild for the Kings. And you may have to look at, all right, maybe we do want Domas back next year.
Yeah.
And we'll ride DeBonsa and Domas and, some of our veterans that we're trying to get rid of. That would change everything.
Yeah, it would bring back the value of these contracts. And I do think that maybe they've seesawed too much to where Malik Monk is viewed as a quote-unquote bad contract when he's shooting 42% from three and nobody's interested in him. Domantas Sabonis, when he's healthy, we know what he can do. Maybe that contract is a little rich for some people's blood, but to not have any interest at all, some of these contracts that have been floating around, I do think maybe the seesaw has gone to one end too much. Now, I don't know how the league is going to try to fix that, but on the other side, it could bring back value to where, hey, we are going to trade for Domantas Sabonis if the Kings wanted to do that, because it isn't that easy to acquire somebody that good. And now that idea of team control is back to being a positive, where we just saw during this past trade season, it was mostly looked as a negative. No, that's money I got to pay you. That's not team control. I don't want that team control. I want 2 years or less. So maybe we'll see it now move back to the other side.
Yeah, nothing changes for the short term. The rest of this year is all about positioning yourself, if you're the Kings and all these other tanking teams, to do as well as you can in this year's draft. But then at that point, once you're through that, yeah, teams are going to have to know, all right, what are we doing here? Because our whole strategy going forward is based on the way things have been.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed. I still have a hard time imagining they're going to do anything too drastic.
Yeah.
I think they should, but I don't think they will.
Would Adam say you don't really need – would Adam say it's not your right or I don't need to tell you because he doesn't want people throwing away a bunch of draft picks to try to get into the 2026 draft? He might not even – unless he legally has to, we might say, yeah, we'll tell you in July.
Well, maybe that's what he was telling them right there.
Yeah.
Like, look, just so you know, just assume you should win and not worry about losing to improve your positioning.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a thing next year.
Right.
Maybe that's what he's telling them.
Whitey, it almost sounds like, and look, thank heavens nothing ended up happening, but it almost sounds like Y2K, right? You remember Y2K when you were going to get beans and flashlights because, hey, year 2000, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So everybody's running and
COVID.
You're running and grabbing water and toilet paper, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, COVID, we needed it, not so much for Y2K, but you could see a Y2K version of this with this draft where everybody is saying, I'm doing whatever I can to get into this first round of 2026 because I don't know what's going to happen next season. So we might as well get as much young talent as we can now because we have no clue what's going to happen next.
I know a guy that lives about halfway between here and Tahoe in kind of a secluded area, and he told me he had a neighbor who spent, I think, like tens of thousands of dollars on a Y2K shelter.
Yeah.
Because he was convinced, like, I'm going in there and see
I'm
you all
telling
later.
you,
Yeah.
people are look. Sean Marks, Scott Perry, they're guys that are not in great spots right now with their team. Whitey, they're getting in their NBA bunkers. Okay, they're making sure that they are all right because we do not know what the future holds. And to be funny, the end of the rebuilding world as we know it could end.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Uh-huh.
We do not know.
Tank your way to the bank may not work anymore.
No.
All right, when we come back, we'll look at the two newest Kings. Kevin Dana's going to join us, Santa Cruz Warriors G League play-by-play. And he says he's seen both these guys recently, right? He's seen
multiple times.
Yeah, Killian Hayes and PBJ. So we'll find out more about them next as we get ready for game night. It's the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Jackson Hewitt knows taxes are complicated, and with multiple jobs and tax forms, they're like Sonata complicated. Our no surprise pricing keeps things simple. Jackson Hewitt does your taxes for only $149 or less. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back. So what are you waiting for? Hurry. File with Jackson Hewitt today for only $149 or less, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination, where Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge, and Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Hi, this is Henry Turner. No one likes waiting. Sometimes, even minutes can feel like an eternity. So imagine if you're a youth waiting for a mentor. It seems like years. Big brothers and big sisters of the greater Sacramento area need your help. More than 100 kids in the Sacramento, Yolo, and South Placer County are waiting for someone to defend their potential. Come on, Sacramento. Stand up. Let's do this the high flyer way. With your help, we can make this thing a slam dunk. Join us at bbbs.sac.org or call 916-646-9300.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140.
They do not know what Sactown brings. When on the low, that's a Sactown thing. Talking about us, it's a bounce out thing. Must they forgot we some Sacramento Kings. Whole squad going crazy, yeah, we back with it. Northern Cali going crazy, one sack.
Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
So, Alan, last night, I don't know how much of it you saw, but the Lakers unveiled a statue for Pat Riley. So, kind of interesting because, you know, Pat Riley, wait, that's the Heat. And you had LeBron there as a Laker, but he was with Pat Riley as the Heat. Anyway, you know, oh, what a tangled web we weave. But it was a really cool statue. And I mentioned that because I think it's only a matter of time before the Santa Cruz Warriors erect a statue of our next guest. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, they definitely need to.
Yep.
Yeah, nice enough to join us. Outstanding play-by-play guy for the Santa Cruz Warriors, Kevin Dana. How are you today, Kev?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Enjoying the sun after that rainy week last week here in the Bay Area, and excited for my guys PBJ and Killian Hayes. I say my guys, but I really enjoyed watching them both. I know we're about to get into them, but I really like these pickups for Sacramento.
Well, you may be excited, Kevin, but I can't imagine anybody being as excited as Alan is. So I'll let him take over. He's real. Seriously, he is pumped about this.
All right, Kev, let's start here. Between these two guys, and we're going to get into both of them, obviously, but when you look at both of these guys, who should Kings fans look at as maybe a more realistic situation for, hey, maybe this guy could turn into something, and you can't say both of them. You got to pick one.
Well, the resume would tell you Killian Hayes because he's averaged 10 points and 6 assists over the course of an NBA season, albeit for a really bad Detroit Pistons team. There's something there, though, with Patrick Baldwin Jr. I just think he could put it together. And I was looking up some game notes from the Warriors. I'm trying to find these game notes. All right, Warriors game notes from when he was a rookie. Patrick Baldwin Jr. was listed at 6'9" and 220. He's now 7 feet tall. He's grown 3 inches since he entered the NBA. And the shooting stroke is so sweet. He's filled his body a little bit. He looks a little stronger. He's played with a lot more confidence. Now I'm watching him against G League competition, not NBA competition. But there was a stretch there for a playoff team his rookie season where he was in the rotation for the Warriors and he was shooting like 38% from 3 in the NBA. I like this guy. I mean, I would take Killian Hayes as the more sure bet, but I know I'm waffling here, but I'm very, very intrigued by PBJ.
Kevin Dana with us, Santa Cruz Warriors G League play-by-play legend. Kevin, which skills or stats would you say translate best from the G League to the NBA when we're trying to figure out if this guy's going to be good at the next level? What are the numbers that tend to be the most reliable?
I mean, everyone looks towards the scoring, and if you could just dominate from a points per game perspective, that does help. I tend to look more at like how a guy can fit into a team concept. Like, is a guy making the extra effort plays, and is that coupled with the athleticism and the length necessary to play at the NBA level to be a rotation guy, which is why the size of PBJ really intrigues me. Now, for the scoring perspective, PBJ and Killian Hayes both averaged career highs this year in the G League. And Killian Hayes, he was like decent for the Long Island Nets last year. I mean, he put up good numbers, but not as good as you'd expect for a guy who was a lottery pick just a few years prior. This year with the Cleveland Charge, he dominated. He had a few 30-point triple-doubles this year. I notes I took. The first one was from a game on November 30th where I wrote, Killian Hayes has turned into a dynamo scorer in the G. Dropped 40 on Windy City on Friday, had 24 midway through the third of this one. It was a blowout. It finished with 26. Announced crew was all over his lack of defensive intensity. So maybe that wasn't the best thing, his lack of defensive intensity, when teams score 130-plus in the G League. But, hey, I don't know how big of an issue that would be for Sacramento this year. The second note I took from him came from a December 13th game. Killian Hayes looks really good this year, 30 points, 10 assists. This is from a game of Cleveland won by 30, his third triple-double. He should get another shot in the NBA. He's still, 24 or 25 years old? I was too lazy to look up the fact that he was indeed just 24 years old. Wow. So there are some guys in the G League where they step on the court and you're like, this guy doesn't belong here. He's too good. Maybe he's a 4A player. Maybe he's a guy who could be a 10th man, an 8th man in the NBA. Like Killian Hayes was one of those guys, and PBJ was too, where they stepped on a G League court and I'm like, they look different than the other guys. Mm-hmm. Some things do not match. These guys do not match with the other guys on the court. They're just too good.
Mm-hmm. All right, Kev. Well, obviously, Killian Hayes went, 7th, and PBJ went late in the first. We're talking about the good, but the reality is they are in the G League and they have bounced around a bit. What are the issues? You brought up some of the defense with Killian Hayes, and we know that shooting has been a little off and on. What are the issues with these guys? Why haven't they been able to stick in a rotation quite yet?
Yeah, I'll start with PBJ. He can kind of float through games at times where he looks awesome. I heard a quote. I talked with Mark Daigneault. This was not to name drop here, but I'm going to name drop. I talked with Mark Daigneault. This is when he was still in the G League, or he was an assistant with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And he said there are some guys that look like they can do a ton but don't do a whole lot on the court. And there are guys who don't look like they can do anything, but it can actually be really competitive. Sometimes PBJ falls into the former, where you just look at this guy. He's 7 feet tall. He's got the sweetest shooting stroke. If you squint, you put it under a microscope, and then you put a telescope, the power of the Hubble Space Telescope, you can kind of see inklings of a Kevin Durant just by the way his body is and how he shoots. And like, man, if he really puts it together, he could be like this big-time wing scorer. It hasn't happened because maybe he hasn't been as assertive in the past. Now, his rookie year, he's playing with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole. Maybe not the best place to assert yourself, but even in college at Milwaukee, he didn't put up great numbers despite being like a mega recruit. You figure like a mega recruit would go and dominate at the mid-major level because he wanted to play for his dad. That would be the one thing I'd say with PBJ. Killian Hayes, if announcers are talking about your lack of defensive intensity, look, when I'm as a play-by-play guy, you have to really not try on defense for me to pick that up.
Maybe he is like D'Angelo Russell. You're right, Alan.
So, like, this is just one. It was the opposing team's broadcast on my notes that the broadcast crew is talking about his defense. And all good as he has been of a scorer in the G League this year, he shot 33% from three, which is, NBA average is now 37%. Which is really high, but you want someone who's at least in the mid-30s, especially if you're going to be coming off the bench in the NBA, and you're not going to be the concerns I'd say for Killian Hayes.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Dana, nice enough to join us. He's the Santa Cruz Warriors. When the Warriors drafted Patrick Baldwin Jr., It was a late pick coming out of high school, went to play for his dad, got hurt, and didn't have a good freshman year. So they just thought, hey, this is the best chance we're going to get at somebody with this kind of pedigree. So they took him late when he was coming off of a really disappointing year that was partly injury influence. Do I have that right?
Yeah, you have that exactly correct. The thinking was, look, we're just coming off a title.
Yeah.
Exactly like you said. Hey, this guy, there's a 1 in 1,000 shot he could be Kevin Durant. Obviously, he's not Kevin Durant. But, he's got the mold. He's got that body. He had the high school pedigree to be that. Yeah. And there were times that year where he was in the rotation. He was a high-level player. Not for the whole season. He only played 31 games that year. But he showed enough in those 31 games because he spent a lot of it with the Santa Cruz Warriors, or a decent bit, to where he was part of, I want to say he was part of that trade, the Chris Paul trade.
Yeah.
I'm looking through his Real GM page right now. It's not showing that.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was that, wasn't it, Alan? And it was Jordan Poole, and it was actually Ryan Rollins.
Yeah.
And Ryan Rollins, yeah. So for some reason, it's not showing up on his Real GM page. But he was good, and he showed enough in that year to be included in the Chris Paul trade, the Chris Paul Jordan Poole trade. Trace Jackson Davis was a part of it. It got really long and windy, but he was a part of it. And the Wizards wouldn't have just, they saw enough to say, yeah, we'll take him. So he wasn't a complete throwaway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kev, there's two situations here. Obviously, Killian Hayes was a top 7 pick, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. went at the end of the first round. We've been going back and forth. Whitey has been kind of, giving me a hard time saying, hey, what do you think these guys are going to be? And I don't necessarily think they're going to save the organization.
I know, and then it doesn't help when Kevin says, Patrick Baldwin Jr. is the next Kevin Durant.
That's right. That's why we had to have Kevin on, because he gets it.
I know.
He gets it. But realistically, Kev, off the top of your head, you see so many guys come through and kind of graduate from the G League ranks. Can you think of a similar situation for either of these guys, either a top 10 pick or maybe a late first rounder that had to bounce around a little bit in the G League, found a spot and turned their career around a little bit, even to just be a rotation player? Any names off the top of your head?
Yeah, Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn was the number 5 pick in 2015, I want to say, with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Was known as this defensive dynamo at Providence. Really had zero offense from an NBA standpoint. Played himself out of the league, was in the G League for a little bit, and then played well enough in the G League to get called up by the Utah Jazz, was in their rotation for a year plus, I want to say, and made his way to the Clippers, and now he's a big-time rotation player for the LA Clippers. The three has come around a little bit. He's in, I want to say 30s. He's been hanging around the low to mid-30s, but he has worked himself back to an NBA contract. The same could be said for Trey Burke. Trey Burke played himself out of the NBA, number 9 pick in 2013 with the Utah Jazz, played 4 years, had a decent rookie year, and then through a stint or two in the G League, was able to get himself back, and for a while he was a part of the Mavericks rotation again. So those are a couple of guys that, they're different players for sure, and maybe not as applicable for PBJ as Killian Hayes, being they're both guards, but those are two guys that immediately come off the top of my head as guys who were able to kind of rehab their career in the G League and then have some more staying power in the NBA.
Interesting. Kevin, as long as we have you here, we'd love to tap into your expertise. We are talking a lot here in Sacramento about the draft. The Kings will have a very high pick, it would appear. What can you share with us about how you have the top prospects ranked at this point? I know we still have a long ways to go, so we're not going to hold you to any of this because come tournament time, a lot of it can change, but how do you have the top players ranked at this point?
Give me AJ DeBonce or give me Death. I love this guy. I love this guy, and I love this guy some more. And I love Cam Boozer, too. I'm biased towards those two because I called their games, their AAU games, a couple of them. So I've had they've been on the back of my mind. The BYU head coach was a longtime G League guy, Kevin Young, so I always try to catch BYU games. AJ, he plays, he cares, and he's all about winning. There was the Oklahoma State head coach, I don't know what his name is, but he mentioned in a post-game press conference that after BYU beat the pants off Oklahoma State in the game, that a BYU player forgot to shake the Oklahoma State head coach's hand, and AJ made that BYU player go back and shake the Oklahoma State coach's hand in the handshake line. He's just that kind of guy. Now, as far as overall talent is concerned, Darren Peterson, I think, is by far the most skilled player. And I don't know exactly what's going on there, but when I see a guy like kind of, and I'm not sure if he was pointing to the bench to say, take me out to Bill Self after hitting the three and scoring 23 points in 18 minutes, but when he's played a little over half the games and when he's on a minutes restriction at that age, that whether it's a lack of conditioning, a serious injury, the mysteriousness around it, I don't like that personally. But I mean, I think he's the most talented player. But I love AJ DeBonta. I'm all about AJ. And then I'd go Cam, and then I'd go probably Darren Peterson, and I really like.
There we go.
You had me. Yeah. You had me. Michael Brown Jr. might have something to say about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Michael. Yeah. I saw him play SMU last week. I saw a little bit of that.
Oh, I see something there.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up their. They've obviously made some moves recently. I mean, so Dexter Dennis has played in the NBA a little bit. Daquan Jeffries is probably the most NBA ready on the Stockton Kings roster. And I will say, since you mentioned Daquan Plowden, I have to shout out my guy Daquan. I saw something on Twitter where he had like one of the top 5 longest takeoff dunks in the NBA this year. I mean, took off furthest away from the basket. He had like a 10-foot, 6-inch launching spot away from the rim to take off for a dunk this year. So, look, his agent DMs me every now and then on Instagram, and we've gone back and forth, and he was saying that he was going to get some more time after the All-Star break, and that certainly has been the case after the trade deadline and All-Star break. He's playing a little more, which I love to see. I think there's something there. I know he hasn't put up great numbers, but
we like him.
I think I like him. I like him a lot. He's about the right things, and he's super, super athletic. And like Killian Hayes and PBJ, I think these are guys who can be innings eaters for the Kings, if you will, as you play out the stretch of a season.
Kevin Dana, Santa Cruz Warriors, play-by-play. Thanks, Kev. We always appreciate it. Always enjoy catching up with you. Thanks, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, hey, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Kev.
Kevin Dana. Oh, we're going to bring in a high flyer here real quick. Here we got some little bit of business to take care of real quick. I'll tell you what, you could win a pair of tickets to the Thunder Showdown 4 at the venue at Thunder Valley on Saturday, March 7th. More info and tickets at thundervalleyresort.com. So for a pair of tickets, what call are we looking for, Alan?
4.
Caller 4. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Could win a pair of tickets to Thunder Showdown 4.
And I've gone to that before.
Yeah?
I've gone to that. It was my first kind of boxing match I've been to kind of warm me up to it.
Yeah?
It's a great time, Whitey.
Good
great
venue?
time.
Yeah?
Great venue. The venue.
Watch out. Here comes a high flyer. He's going to throw a few haymakers.
Man, I bob and weave, baby.
Yeah, get ready for game night. Can we get the high flyer on? Yeah. Let's see. You good?
Mic check. 1, 2.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah. Jay couldn't even see you. He didn't even know you came in.
Yeah. I snuck in, bro.
Yeah. Alan is very excited about Killian Hayes and Patrick Baldwin Jr. What do you think of the acquisitions of these guys at this point, High Flyer?
As many guys as you can bring in to take a good look at, the better. We understand where we are at this particular point. We're still tearing the house down.
Yeah.
We haven't got to the foundation yet. We're still tearing it down, and it's going to be a whole lot of guys that's going to come through here that they're going to have to take a look at. A lot of guys, and the more the better. I mean, I really don't care at this particular point. Watch the game the other night, and I'm looking for little bitty things now. Understand we didn't play well against San Antonio, but I don't care. My main thing was Max Reno had a hell of a game against one of the league elites. I take that as a positive.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take that and I'm going to roll with it. Same thing tonight. I'm going to look for little bitty things. We just talk about the acquisition, the guys that are coming up. Let's see what they can do and see how they can perform. If it's something that we can keep, great. Bring them back preseason, see if they stick. If it's not, you move on and you bring some more guys in. That's how it's going to have to be done.
Yeah, and I do think there are nights like this where you feel a little bit more excited just based on who you're facing. Now, I remember Whitey, your boy, Ty Jerome, he went off for 28, but it was a close game. It was 129.
And then they took him out.
Right.
And they still won.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
But we don't need to think about that. 129 to 125. So this is a game where, to your point, High Flyer, you're not severely outmatched. We knew the Spurs, they're on a different level right now. But you get a game against the Grizzlies. I think if you're even in that locker room, some of these young guys, they should be getting up a night like this. Hey, this is another team in a situation that's playing young guys. Let's go out there and let's see what we can do.
You really should, but I'll tell you what, the Grizzlies are not the San Antonio Spurs. If you're in that Sacramento Kings locker room, you should remember what this dude did to you in like short minutes. He was on a minute restriction and gave you the business. And I'm sorry, he's not a Wemby.
No.
All right?
Not quite.
So if you're in that Sacramento Kings locker room, Alan, redemption is on my mind. We might not win the basketball game, but I tell you what, you're not going to come out with numbers like that again.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, High Flyer. Wasn't there a time in the NBA when, and I know everything's different now, but if somebody was making a bunch of threes, wouldn't you just knock them down?
Come on, man. Come on now.
Different. Touch them up, right?
We had plays for that.
Really?
No, seriously. We had actual plays for that. I remember when we was in Indiana, and I'm guarding Reggie. All right? Reggie come off the screen, he knocked one down. Boom. He came off the screen again, he knocked another one down. Boom. Rodney said, Hank, bring him my way. Came down again, I pushed him out Rodney way. He was in the third row. You touch him up. And then, there's no way.
Every team had those plays, right? Everybody had them.
Everybody had them. It's something that's called gumption. You really have to have something in your spirit to say, I'm not just going to keep letting you just shoot this ball time and time and time and time again and knocking it down and letting you get to the exact same spot. Styles, if you're giving me a problem, you're a little shorter cat than me, but you're probably quicker than I am. If you coming down and you beat me to the left every time, man, about that third time, I'm knocking the hell out of you, and you're going to have to go right.
That's right.
And to see if you can score going to the right. I'm not going to keep letting you just keep doing this over and over and over and over. Ain't happening.
Yeah. That's a pretty good scouting report, isn't it?
It's pretty good. You might have seen, my scouting tapes. They floating around here somewhere.
I was at 24-hour the other day. I checked him out.
That's right. Yeah, one of the rare games, guys. This was, like we said, not too long ago. Funny enough, this month, DeAndre Hunter might have been his first or second game. He only played 2. DeAndre Hunter, 26 minutes. DeMar DeRozan, 28. Sabonis, 24. LaVine, 22. And then you have Westbrook with 26 minutes. They had 9 guys play 20 or more minutes, and Malik, the 10th guy, played 18. So a completely different roster than we're going to see.
Oh, yeah.
And, if I'm the Kings, this is a game, to your point, that I'm getting up for a couple of reasons. There are going to be certain nights where this thing is tough, and other nights where you feel like you got a shot at it. This is the last week, High Flyer, where a player could be bought out. They don't have to make a decision this week, but it's the last week where a team and a player will come to a decision. How do you feel about how things have maybe shifted with DeMar DeRozan and Westbrook? Some people were a little annoyed because DeMar had 20 points and he played 35 minutes and he had 20 points. I said, look, guys.
He only had 13 shots, but
he only had 13 shots, incredibly efficient. I said, look, guys, these dudes, I've been calling them deferring DeMar because he's been passing. He's been, hey, this is the young show. Everybody else is doing things. Former team, right? Former team, a little bit of juice there with Wemby and Fox. I had no problem at all with DeMar doing his thing, and I think Westbrook only played 21 minutes.
That's correct.
How does the rest of this season go, assuming they're on the team? I don't want to say awkward, but is it just a weird situation where DeMar clearly could be shooting more and isn't?
Right. Here's the deal with DeMar DeRozan. This dude has been 150% professional with this whole get down. He didn't come to this team to be on a rebuilding squad.
Right.
He came to this team really to be a better Harrison Barnes and to help that Beam team go to the next level.
Right.
And you haven't heard nothing negative from this dude. You haven't seen nothing as far as body language, nothing as far as not going out there producing. He's been probably our best player this year.
And you've seen his preparation, too.
And
diligent.
Like I said, 150% professional. So when you start talking about, okay, so what do you do with him now? We had this conversation the last time. If I'm front office, I'm asking DeMar, what is it you want to do? What is it? If we can help facilitate anything that you want to do, we're going to try our best to do that. If you want to stick it out here, it's fine. You playing for your legacy. We understand you're not playing for wins and losses. Him and Russell Westbrook are playing for their legacy. They're still knocking people down in the points, assists, all these other things. But we understand where we are at this particular time. So I would ask both of them, what do you want to do? We're in the youth movement. If you want to stay here, fine. If you want to move, we'll try to facilitate that also.
Mm-hmm. I don't know when Patrick Baldwin Jr. is arriving or when he's going to play. I apologize. I'm not sure.
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, okay.
Just to be clear.
He's apparently listed at 7 feet. I'm just wondering, High Flyer, when you played, now I know there's switches that happen, but the guy who was the tallest player you were ever one-on-one matched up against in the NBA that you can recall?
Wow, okay. I went at one particular point, I played everywhere from the 1 to the 3.
Okay.
And you have to think, back in my day, it was the era of the big point guard. So I was guarding Magic Johnson.
Okay.
Because we had nobody that could match up with him. So
Yeah.
I was guarding Magic.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So he's probably the biggest guy that I had to deal with.
Tall and big, right? You just...
No, I had to deal with little bigger brothers than that. I mean, Magic was big, but... think about it. I had to deal with like Xavier McDaniels. I had to deal with Anthony Mason. It was some big dudes back
for
then.
a point guard, he was pretty sturdy.
For point guard, he was 6'8", huge.
Yeah.
So probably Magic was the biggest guy that I really had to match up against.
You shut him down pretty good?
Not at all. Not at all. I remember Jerry Reynolds said, "Hank, do not turn your head." So now I switched off on Worthy. And we're on the fast break, and I turn and look at Worthy, and I hear something go, and the ball shot right past my ear. Worthy had it laying up, and Magic was just that good. He would see you on defense and notice that you're not looking, and the ball would go right past your ear, and by the time you hear it, you look, Worthy got it, landed up, Byron Scott dunking the basketball. Jerry Reynolds called timeout and said, "Hey, I told you, keep your eye on the ball."
What was that sound the ball made? There you go. We're back with you tomorrow. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Jay. And we got game night coming up next. Getting ready for the Kings and the Grizzlies on Sactown Sports.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
This is the sound of Lucy, staying on top of her spending. You see, even though she's buying a new pair of jeans, she knows that it fits within her monthly budget. Because Wells Fargo will send an alert if her balance drops below her set amount. Yep, nothing gets past Lucy, or Wells Fargo for that matter. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Have you tried my Colombian tamales?
Yes, but the Mexican tamales I brought are way better.
Colombian tamales wrapped in plantain leaves are unmatched, you know.